guys. Today I'm gonna cover this particular article which is in the Hindu newspaper Chennai edition. Date is 23rd of July. So this article will be helpful for you in the prelims and mains perspective. So on prelims there can be questions like on the abbreviation side and also the act and years rules. So and also in the mains perspective they can ask about India's nuclear power promise and whether to include private entities in this or not. So, on those perspective, that can be a mains question. So, let's get started. Redeeming India's nuclear power promise. India has to meet its ambitious target of 100 gigawatts of power generating capacity by 2047. So, India's nuclear energy mission, which they had a 100 gigawatt capacity of target. Currently, we have 8 gigawatt capacity. Okay. So and also we know that we currently India has some had a promise of net zero emission in 2000 by 2070, and also we have had a clear target of Viksit Bharat by 2047 to make India a developed country in the next 20 years. So nuclear energy would be a good alternative to the fossil fuels, and also it's a clean and safer energy, the renewable side, and also to achieve the India's climate targets, because in the we know that the famous ISA, which is International Solar Alliance, in it, which India was a founding member. So we had a which was signed in 2000, which was started in 2015. So in this we had a target of having nearly achieving 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by in a decade, actually in 10 years, and also to have a 50 percentage of energy completely from the renewable side. Okay, so let's dive into the historical perspective of India's nuclear power. So okay, um, India had an early start. Even India was the first country in Asia to have a nuclear research reactor, and which was proposed by the famous who is the architect of India's nuclear program, Dr. Homi Bhabha. In 1954, he has submitted the late Prime Minister Nehru to have a target of making India in to have a nuclear power target by 1980. Okay, so and also on this perspective, in 1956, we are the first country in Asia to have the nuclear research reactor, which is famously known as the Apsara. So it can be asked in films for you, and with the US support. So we have made this with the US support, and also by 1963 to 64, we had the functional. We actually had a functional reactor. So what happened? We know in the 1960s, India's perspective was to focus on the nuclear power making, right? Because we faced invasions from the countries in 1962 and 65 in Pakistan and 62 with China. So there is a need for India to make a nuclear power nuclear weapon. So on those perspective, and also in that 1967, there was a famous, which was globally known, which is the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which was signed by NPT, which was famously known as NPT, which was signed by several countries, but India refused to join in this. India refused to join in this because it was like the thing they used to say is the P5 countries, the famously known as P5 countries. We know P5 countries who are in the UN Security Council, which is the USA, UK, France, and the Russia and China. Okay, so these are the countries. So these countries are exempted in making this nuclear proliferation treaty. All other countries who is having a vision to make a nuclear power or nuclear weapon or currently developing the nuclear weapon has to shut down it, and you have to sign it. So on this perspective, it is a very discriminatory one. So India has refused to sign it. It was during the Gandhi's tenure. And also there is a NSG which is coming under this NPT organization. I've actually covered about this nuclear supply groups in my previous video, so you can go and watch it. So in this nuclear supply groups, India was not a member in this also, because it was coming under NPT. Right now we don't we refuse to try. Even now we are refusing to join in this nuclear proliferation treaty. So okay, um, and also the next point of view is we know that we have successfully launched the famous Operation Smiling Buddha, our first nuclear test at Pokhran in 1974, which is which was a very clear and peaceful means, not to threat any other country, right? And so right from there, the country's perspective of about India, even US was making efforts to deterrent India's nuclear and space development programs, right? And also we have made another nuclear test at Pokhran in 1998 in the name of Operation Shakti, right? So after this new second thing, countries like USA, so we know that the perspective has changed because of the 2001 9/11 attack. So I have also covered this in my previous video about the FATF report. So okay, after this, in 2005, India and US has signed a nuclear deal, a bilateral agreement, which was in the Manmohan Gandhi's, not I'm sorry, Manmohan Singh. So Manmohan Singh's tenure. So from that, because why this so? Because in the sense, India has a clear track record. Because we don't have any we didn't face any nuclear accidents or any nuclear leakage from our side. We had a clear record, we have a clear track. So based on this, now we are actually seeking permission to be in the NSG nuclear supply groups, without with an exception that we will not sign in this NPT, but we want to be in this nuclear supply groups. Okay, so this is what India stand. And several other countries like France, UK is also supporting us to be in this, to include India. Around 48 countries are there in this nuclear supplier groups. 48 countries are there, in which 47 countries are ready to include India as the NSG member, even without signing the NPT. But the one country which is refusing is China. China is not allowing us to become a member of NSG program. So this is what has been covered in this article. And also there is several acts like Atomic Energy Act 1962, and the Civil Liability of Nuclear Damage Act 2010. And I've also covered in my previous video about the heavy water pressurized reactors, in which there will be a three-stage thing which was proposed by the Homi Baba, three three level stage. In the first stage, we'll be having uranium. Uh, for preparing this heavy water pressurized reactor, we don't need enriched uranium, and obviously India doesn't have the capacity to make enriched uranium. And because we are not a member in NSG, so we are bilaterally having agreements with Russia and countries like USA for purchasing this enriched uranium. But if we develop heavy water pressurized reactors, we don't need that enriched uranium. And with uranium, because India has a very low level of uranium, uh, so by making this uranium at the first stage, we can actually reach the byproduct of uranium, which is plutonium, at the second stage. And I've also mentioned about the FBR, which is fast breed reactors. I think which is my it was my first video. And also from there we can actually get thorium. India has very abundant in thorium. we don't need to worry about it. We have evidence in the thorium. So this is what the three stages in order to achieve our nuclear power thing. And also there is a article given here to include private entity or not, because right now the nuclear subject is completely under the government of India. So this is what based on this article perspective. So give it a read, and if you have any doubts you can ask me in the comment section. So this wholly we can, if you achieve this means we can um, make the Viksit Bharat target by 2047. Actually we have the, under this ISA we have signed nearly 50 percentage of India's energy to be from the renewable side. We have actually achieved this also. 50 percentage of India's energy currently now is from the renewable side, so which is a good thing. So I hope you had a clearance from this video, and if you have any doubts you can ask me in the comment section so that I can reply. And thanks for watching. Thank you.